All right. Welcome, everybody. From a restaurant manager to a seven-figure annual residual income earner and CEO of one of the fastest growing network marketing opportunities online, his inspirational journey will touch hearts and change lives. Stay tuned, everyone, for another amazing Marsie Talks Live interview with Peter Wolfing. I am so excited for tonight's interview. I am Marsie McCann. I started working online over 3 years ago, motivating and mentoring aspiring digital entrepreneurs launch their new business. And I am live every week here on Marsie Talks Live, where we have talk with real people having real success in their life and in business. Now, make sure you guys give me an 8. Yes, that's right. Type an 8 in the comments. This will subscribe you to the show here on Facebook. Or on YouTube, make sure you click that big old subscribe button that will subscribe you. And this way, you do not miss out on any of the MTL interview replays. Now, MTL interviews, Peter Wolfing is coming up. And again, like I said, I'm so excited. He's been called the Uber of his industry because of he's out of the box thinking. And he has revolutionized the online home-based business model. So make sure you guys stick around until the end of this show because he will be bringing the thunder on tonight's show. But first, let's go ahead and shout out all the viewers. We have some viewers on. Jesse, thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome. Scott Thompson, we see you. Scott left a comment there earlier today when we posted about the interview. David Stout as well. Thank you so much, David Stout, for coming on. Heather Springer, I see you. Welcome, guys. Make sure you type an 8 in the comments. This will subscribe you to this live show here on Facebook. Cherise, I see you. Thank you so much for hopping on. Now, as I said, Peter Wolfing is going to be bringing the thunder tonight, okay? Make sure, again, you guys stay until the end because he will also be sharing something very, very special with you all. And definitely, guys, feel free to share and tag a friend that you know will benefit from the content on tonight's show. Now, let's go ahead and welcome our special guest, Peter Wolfing. Welcome to the show tonight. So excited to have you here. What have you been up to? What's been keeping you busy, Peter?
Hey, Marcie, thank you very much, everybody, for coming on today, and a little virtual handshake for everybody over there. I know you do some great interviews and enjoyed watching many of them. And, thanks for having me come on. We did a version of this way back when it was in June or early July or something like that. Yeah, it was quite a while ago. So I kind of caught you by surprise in doing that, and we had a great time doing it.
It was fun. It was super fun. So share with everyone, what's been keeping you busy? What's Peter Wolfing been up to these days?
Well, it's for me, it's always about growth. It's always about doing something new, becoming better every day than I was the day before. It's always a journey, never stopping. And many people, they graduate from high school or college or whatever, they slam dunk the football and they don't learn anymore. They barely pick up another book. They barely learn anything new. And it's just, hey, I have 20 years experience, but really it's 1 year repeated 20 times, so what do you get from that? Right.
Wow.
So I think it's always, I want to grow. I want to get better. I want to be able to leave a bigger mark and so on. So I'm always doing something, and many projects I have are 2-year projects. Some of them are in the works for 6 months. Some are just getting off the ground. So I have many projects that I'm working on in different facets of creation at this point. Funny thing is, sometimes people, they come up to me or they post and they're like, why you post something new about a new thing, a new book or a new website or they call it a program, being in the network marketing community. And my response is basically this. It's like, if Stephen King came out with his first book, which is the book Carrie, right?
Yes.
It's like coming up to him and saying, well, you just did one book. Sorry, you can't do anymore.
Doesn't work that way.
That way. Creative, right? You got to keep on doing that kind of thing. And it's like asking the sun not to come up every day. It's not that I'm the sun, but you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You you do what you do. I'm a creator. I like to build things, and I just like to put things together and have an impact on lives. So I have many websites that have been around for many, many years. My company's 22 years old in next month. And so that's dinosaur years in the internet. 22 years, and I'm working on new projects. I've been dealing with the digital realm for going 2 decades now, just everything digital. And I'm starting to morph into taking that digital content and making a physical representation of that into physical product. So we have a connection between the physical and the digital realm. There's many people who come out and they'll say, well, what's your product? Oh, it's digital education. They're like, I don't get it, because they can't touch it, feel it, right?
Exactly.
So, I want to touch it. It's not real unless I can put it on my skin or I can ingest it or feel it or touch it. So we're coming out with physical representations of the products and new offerings to people, which is different for me. So I'm coming up with physical, beautiful boxes. So when they get it, their joy hits the floor. Like, oh my God, this is crazy good, and really hit a whole different market. So working on these types of things, and next few months we'll be releasing some of that stuff to come out, which is exciting for me. And the whole production side of that is interesting, where you have to look at lead time, and you get into a whole nother realm of company ownership with having to have cost of goods sold and lead time of, okay, it takes this long to order with the manufacturing and the shipping, and you got to order a month and a half out in advance. It's different. The digital product is done, it's done, you're done, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a whole different challenge to do that. So it's a way for me to kind of grow into a different area that I've never been before, and it's exciting. It's very exciting.
That sounds so exciting, and you shared a little bit with me, and I am not going to release what it is, but I'm excited for it because it's literally tangible. You could touch it. It's in a box. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. We'll leave it at that. So share with everyone, Peter, where did your journey begin and, to becoming a successful entrepreneur? Because we started off the interview by saying that, you worked as a restaurant manager, but I know that's not really where it originally started for you. And we talked a little bit about that in our pre-interview. So share that with everyone.
Yeah, I knew that I had something. I didn't know what it was. Maybe as early as 5 years old, that I can remember going to school.
Wow.
I would be buying stuff at the store, bringing it to school, and selling it. The next day, come with different stuff, right? Bubble gum or whatever I would sell, right? And so I had something. I was always doing paper routes. I was shoveling driveways. I was mowing lawns. I was doing these types of things. And so I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. No one had taught me. I didn't really have a hands-on mentor, but looking later on in life at my early life, I noticed that my mom was really my visual mentor, which she didn't really teach me, but I saw her. She came from Europe, basically knew very little English, if any. We really started from a shack, basically. So we were dirt poor. And if you ever go to one of my old YouTube videos, I think it's called the 1963 Cribs video, when I was like 2 or 3 years old. And I actually show the house that we grew up in, which is still there. It's amazingly enough, it's still there. And so, so we came from nothing, and I saw her do whatever it took to fend for us. So she would go, someone would come up, hey, can you do this? And she would say yes immediately. Whether she knew how to do it or not, it didn't matter. And she would figure out how to do it later. Right. So eventually we went into a regular house, and on the side in the garage, my father transformed that into a studio for her to be able to do interior design, fabrics and slip covers and things like that. So I saw her working from home, taking care of us. So that was the work at home thing for me when I first got started. And then she eventually owned multiple fabric stores and a restaurant. So I saw all of that happen, and she was always wanting to do more and creative and things like that. So now looking back, I'm like, oh, so that's where I got it from, And she also taught me some great things. She taught me how to be able to stand up for myself and to be able to do the right thing. And in that, for the longest time, and still now, she taught me, listen, you don't lie to people, you be professional. And I used to get teased when I was a kid. We're playing baseball. Was he safe or was he out? And they would always come to me because they know I would tell the truth. Right?
You would tell the truth. Oh, goodness.
I never cursed or anything like that. It was just what she instilled on me to do. And I try to bring that into my business now. And then I try to treat people right with respect. And that comes through when I was in the service with the Marines and your respect for authority and things like that. So through that whole time frame, I'm learning and I'm absorbing. And when I was in the Marines, I had businesses on the side. I had a DJ business. I was going to college at night. I got college degrees, college classes at night when I was going there, and had I had 2 different businesses when I was in the Marines, and then I finally got out, went into the restaurant business with my mom. She calls me up. I was faithful. When you're going through life, you think, wow, there's certain things that happen in your life. If you would have made a decision one way or the other, your life would be totally different. Well, I remember one day I was maybe a few weeks away from re-enlisting because I rose to the rank of sergeant in about 2 to 2.5 years, which is pretty hard to do in the Marines. And they offered me a lot of money to stay in because I did top secret coding and decoding electronics. So it was difficult. And so they were going to offer me maximum money, like a bonus to stay in. And she calls me up and says, ring, ring. Hey, we're opening up a restaurant. I need you. Of course, that's my hot button as a challenge. I had nothing business. So, I get out and the same day I get back from my station, I'm washing dishes. Right. So, and I start from the ground up. And eventually I said, hey, this is pretty cool. I'm having a good time doing this. I went to culinary school to learn that and did very well with that. I got straight A's with that. And and this is one thing I want to convey on to everybody as far as the story thing that I'm telling you, is that what I love to do is I just don't want to know something works. I want to know why it works and the mechanics of how it works. So this way I can make it better and really learn why. So in the restaurant business, I started out by getting food for the chef so he would be able to cook, right? Get me this ingredient, that ingredient, and so on. And after a while, that was okay. And I did that for 6 months. But I wanted to learn, okay, well, why do you put these things together? And why does it taste the way it does? What if you bake something? Does it come out a certain way with certain things? And so I went to culinary to learn that. And the same thing in online business. It's, okay, I can use this funnel, but how do you construct a funnel? Why do people respond to certain colors? Why does certain pictures do certain things to people? The length is, the length of the mechanics, So when you have this knowledge of the mechanics of how things work, it's the boundaries that lift off of you because now you have skills. So if you're always trying to increase your skill level in whatever your chosen profession is, people will beat down your door to hire you because you have the skills. So in the market in general, it could be in network marketing, it could be online, it could be anything, just like you're doing now with the interview process, right? The more you do, the better you get, right?
Absolutely.
So with your online business, and I challenge everybody here to be able to always try to be better, figure out the way things work, do your homework, don't take things for granted, because in the market, you're paid in direct proportion to your skill level. Okay. Yep. You're paid in direct proportion to your skill level. So if you want to get paid more, be better. Don't wish for things to be easier. Wish you were better. Okay. Jim Rohn said that. Don't wish for things to be easier. Wish for you to be better. Right. So you in turn get better. You get better at your craft. Now, if you're in, say, network marketing and you say, I don't want to worry about funnels and so on. Okay, be a better salesperson. How do you talk to people? What do you say to people? How do you say it to people? For instance, there's a skill in sales. The world operates by sales. People might say, oh, I hate sales. But if there was no sales, the world would come to a screeching halt because everything comes through sales. And whether or not, you're in sales every single day of your life. And for people, when they say, oh, I'm no good at sales, and I said, you're great at sales. They're like, what do you mean? Well, so every day you're selling yourself on the fact that you're no good at sales, so you must be great at it.
Absolutely.
And you're buying it, right?
Exactly.
So in sales, there's so many different nuances, and I think in the next few months I'm going to do a really detailed, like a 4-week course on this, one night a week. And for one thing, to show you how intricate a sales process can be, because sales is not so much trying to slam dunk somebody on something; it's more about persuasion and influence. Okay, and so if you were to ask me, hello, pick up the phone, and I say, hey, Marsie, this is Peter Wolfing of Multiplex Systems. You would think nothing of it if you're listening. Oh, okay, that's fine. But in the sales process, when you teach people correct technique and also the nuances of neuro-linguistic programming and the way people hear things, if I say, hey, Marsie, this is Peter Wolfing of Multiplex Systems, you hear at the end how my voice goes up a little bit. What that does is that creates a subconscious question for you. And your subconscious is always trying to answer the question in the affirmative, which is yes. And you're always trying to get the person to say yes consciously and also yes subconsciously.
Wow.
So uptone is affecting you if I was selling to you, and you're doing that subconsciously over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15 minutes or so, and they're saying yes and yes and yes, and they don't even know they're saying yes. So by the time you ask them the question, the main question, well, they've already said yes 20 times.
Okay? In their head.
In their head, and the subconscious dominate,
yes.
right? So these little things, we're going to go into detail on the sales course I'm going to do. And so it'd be called vibrational sales. And so that'll be in the future, a few months. I'm still putting all the mechanics of it together. But that's just to show you that if you can get better at your skill level, especially in sales, and how to talk to people, how to communicate with people, these types of things, your income will go up geometrically.
Absolutely.
They're saying, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to, you're like, you have your text in front of you or your Facebook in front of you, and you shut people off where you don't get close to people. If you break that down and you're willing to talk to people, your income will shoot way up. And the process of sales is not a 4-letter word. It's something that you're showing people how to break through, because most of the time people need, as long as a person needs what you want to sell, okay, and they're just, the only thing that's stopping them from buying what they know that they should have is fear. As a salesperson, it's kind of like I call it the highest profession, because you're helping them get what they know they want if they had if they didn't have the fear behind it.
There
right?
you go. Wow.
Right? So you're helping get by that fear because they know they want it. So if I'm showing them how to make money online and I know my program will help them, but the fear is stopping them, I'm doing them a service by getting them past the fear to buy my product. I'm not selling it. I'm breaking the barrier down to help them move along in their life. Right. So all of this stuff is important, and that goes along with skill level. Right.
That's so amazing.
I've been doing this for 30 years. So, my skill level is there. And just to let everybody know, it's a process. And you do it over and over and over, and you learn. You say, okay, I made a mistake here. You record, you get better. And then your skill level gets like myself.
That's phenomenal. One thing I love that you've said, I think, and this was in the Golden Gala Achille Awards back in 2018 when you got that award for the Performance 360 second edition. One of the things you said in that interview is, if you want to earn more, become more. I love that. That stuck with me.
Yeah.
If you want to earn more, become more. Yeah. And this all starts with, again, like you said, improving that skill level, becoming more and more and more within that specific skill level, and just, consistently just getting better.
Your goal is to become world class.
Yeah.
And in the professions that we have, it doesn't take that much to become world class. Right. So, so even if you think of baseball, which is my favorite sport, just 1 or 2 hits a week is going to get you millions of dollars more than somebody else, because that'll get you from 250 to over 300, right? And a batting average. So when you're over 300, you're going to get the bucks, right? So that little extra that you learn in your skill level to be able to get the extra base hit or whatever in here, the extra sale or something, or be a better leader in your organization if you have a group of people, is going to get you to that next level, which means more money, right? And you can command more money by producing more and being better at your craft.
That is amazing. Now, I just see, and I learn every time I do these interviews. And I said this in my last interview, every single time I do an interview, I learn. And that's what, it's not just we're bringing value to the forefront, but I'm learning in the process. So my next question, Peter, is, what has been some of the toughest adversities, that you faced in your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, that's a great question, because there's more than just 1 or 2, but I'll try to kind of ratchet down to maybe 1 or 2 or 3 if we have time. This is kind of counterintuitive. The easiest thing that I did was to make my first $1 million. The hardest thing was to figure out I was worthy of making the $1 million.
Wow.
Because I never felt that I was worthy of it. And so let me back up when I was getting started, is that for me, making $25, $30, $40, $50 an hour, I thought that's all there was. And I didn't even know it was possible to make $500 an hour. And for those of you, if you do the math, 2,000 hours a year is about the average of what people work, times $500 an hour is $1 million a year. So, and it never even occurred to me that it was possible. So I had this feeling that was taught to me by my parents. Okay. Usually it's things like that. Or your belief level is taught to you by your authority figures in your life, that money is not necessarily a good thing, that rich people are bad, that rich people stole from the poor to get to the rich, So I didn't think it was worthy for me to get to that. It was something that okay, I'm almost like dirty to get to that point, right? And I had to unlearn that part of it. So that was tough for me to do that, is to unlearn that to make money is not necessarily a bad thing. That it just enables who you are as a person, so you can do a lot more. Okay. And you can help a lot more people. So that unworthiness is number one. Another challenge is that the first 8 or 9 years of my online journey, from say 1990 to 98, 99, around there, I thought it was all about me, that it was up to me to make it happen. And so I thought, okay, make more sales and just work harder than everybody else. And I made some money, but I didn't make that much money. And by that point, I was over $125,000 in credit card debt, because I was investing in my business and it just wasn't clicking, right? So it was all business invested, personal invested, and things like that. Once I found during that point that, say, listen, it's not about me doing it myself. I have to find somebody else that's already where I want to be and learn from them. So instead of, because I did a lot of trial and error. I failed, that kind of thing. So basically what happened is I got cheap on myself, right? So I said, basically, don't get cheap on yourself, right? So if someone says, okay, that I can mentor you and they're at a certain level where you want to be, it might be worth the price they're asking, because what you do is you shrink the time that it's going to take you to get there by trial and error, and you're going to pay anyway, because you're going to pay in failure. So why pay in failure when you can just go to the front row like that? And you're shaving years off your life by learning from someone who's already been there as a mentor or coach or whatever, right? And so my first coach was Darren Hardy of Success Magazine. He was a former publisher of Success Magazine, very, very popular. He's great. Most of you might know him. And I spent $12,000 to go see him in Miami, as well as I think it was 2022. Be doing over $1 million in business a year, and many of them were doing over $1 billion a year in business. So at $12,000, when you're $125,000 in credit card debt, is a lot of money, right? But I said, listen, I got to do it. It's what I'm doing is not working, right? So, and that's another lesson. You got to figure, hey, what's not working, and you got to switch it up. You can't be doing the same thing over and over again, expecting
over and over.
More, right? So I figured I can get a mentor, learn from them, and then from that point, I've been on a search for mentor, learn from people that have been doing it longer, that have accomplished what I want to accomplish in my life. And I've gotten a lot of mentors. So I just don't wing it. And I have mentors too. Okay. So even in football or baseball, even the best athletes have coaching. They have coaching mentors, right? People that are going to teach them. I did a curation on Tom Brady. If you ever see on Facebook, look up Tom versus Time. It's I think 5 sections of Tom Brady of the Patriots. Whether you like him or not, doesn't matter. He's a professional. He's the best that there is. But even if he's the best that there is, he hires a coach to show him how to throw the ball better, in case he falls back into something that's going to be non-productive, to help him to be a better football player, to get even 1% better, because for him, 1% better is how many millions of dollars, right? So what I'm saying is that even the best people have coaches. So can't we learn from that? Right? Doesn't matter where you are in the totem pole of income, you need a mentor to get better at what you're doing and cut that 10-year gap to 6 months or a year or whatever it happens to be, right? And the money you're going to spend on that is going to pale in comparison to the money you're going to save in just lost time, because we're not getting any younger, and also in money lost in just trial and error. And I'm just not holding anything back. $125,000 in credit card debt.
Wow.
Trying to figure it out myself. So painful lesson in the cafeteria of life, eating humble pie every day.
Eating humble pie every day.
Painful lesson. So now I do that. So when I tell people, hey, come over to New York, I'm doing a 2-day workshop. It's $500, and they're like, oh, I can't do $500. I'm like, you're getting cheap on yourself, and I'm trying to teach them that lesson, that don't do what I did. And
Wow.
the stuff that I teach because I've done it. I came where you guys are. I've been through the gauntlet of everything, and I'm still here after 20 some odd years, 30 years, almost 29 years now, online marketing, and I didn't stop. But I've failed probably 100 times more than the people listening right here. So when I'm coming from personal experience, and that I'm one of you guys, I did it already. So trust me when I'm telling you, I'm teaching you, I'm telling you straight from the heart that that's exactly what I did. Try to do the same thing. You'll probably get as much or better results than I did.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's talk improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Ooh, my favorite.
How did you develop this concept?
Well, it wasn't me. It was that was from the Marines, right? When I was in the Marines, one of the sayings that we had was improvise, adapt, and overcome. Let me kind of paint a picture for you. When I was a sergeant in the Marines, okay, we have a platoon of guys, right? We have a mission to be able to do something, our core mission of what we're trying to do. And everybody knows the mission, but you have the lieutenant, you have the non-commissioned officer, and then you have corporals and lance corporals and privates all the way down the line. So if you're trying to do a mission to do something, what happens if the lieutenant gets shot and killed? What happens if the sergeant gets shot and killed? Everybody just says, well, we're done.
We're done.
We're gone. We're done. But that's what happens with so many people in the business. My sponsor quit. Anybody ever hear of that? My sponsor quit. Well, I'm going to quit too. My business is over.
Oh, that's a good one.
I started in 1990. My sponsor quit in a few weeks. Their sponsor quit. Their sponsor quit. If I would have just said, well, they quit, well, I'm out of here, 30 years would have been gone, and I wouldn't have had the success that I had.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And what do leaders do? Leaders find solutions, and they say, listen, if it's not there, I'm going to build it. If it's not there, I'm going to create it. I'm going to make it because I made that decision to make it happen, and the solutions are there. I'm going to find it. So I went upline, found somebody. I would travel from New York to Albany, which 5 or 6 hours on a Saturday to go get trained, because back then the internet wasn't there, and we had to go do that. So back to my Marine Corps part. Inside of all the people, whether they're privates, lance corporals, and so on, they have the mission is already in here. So if that happens to happen with the higher ups get killed or something like that, they can still accomplish the mission. They just don't quit and go home. So in your business, understand that sometimes leadership is not going to be there, and unexpected things happen. What was your original mission? What was your original vision? What was your original goal? Do it, because the answer is out there somewhere. Whether you're going to go and maybe tag team with a sideline that doesn't have any financial interest in you, find somebody else that's willing to work together synergistically with you, or go to YouTube, find answers, go to the company, find answers. The answers are there. The answer is not to quit. That's not the answer. You sign up for a reason. You sign up with that company for a reason. Maybe you think it's the sponsor, but you saw something, right? So if the sponsor quits, okay, so what? Sponsorship and a sponsor is highly overrated. Highly overrated. Right?
Someone should type that in the comments.
Sponsorship is highly overrated. It's you are the captain of your own ship. Take charge of it, and just do it. Do it, and you'll become. Guess what? You in turn want to find a great sponsor, but why don't you become the sponsor you always wish you had? Right. So this way, now people are going to come to you. Become the sponsor that you always wish you had. Right. That people start beating their door down for you to be their sponsor, because you became the person you always wish you had, but you never did. It's almost like become the rich uncle you wish you had. Right. Become the rich uncle you wish you had. Become the better sponsor you had. Right. But that comes again that we went to before, which is the skill level. So
absolutely
adapt and overcome. Things are always going to happen that are not going to work. The plan or whatever the plan is to accomplish the mission is usually probably not going to work. Then you improvise, you adapt, and you overcome. So I think Eric Worre said plan, do, and review is kind of similar takeoff of that. You plan, you do it, then you review it, see what works, what doesn't. Then you plan it again, you do a review, plan, do, review. And the same thing, improvise, adapt, and overcome. And then you do it again and again and again. And every time you do it, it gets better and better and better.
That's amazing. I love that. Cherie says yes with an exclamation mark at the end. She says, people will quit on you. You just got to make sure you don't quit on yourself.
That's right. That's right.
Phenomenal. So the comments are amazing. Heather says super amazing value. Peter, what are your 3 major keys every aspiring entrepreneur should have, to actually or develop to actually see the success, that they want to see? I guess the first thing is they need to really establish why, like you had mentioned, your why. But what are 3 major keys that every aspiring entrepreneur should develop to see success in the industry?
Well, there's a lot of it depends on the person, but you said the first thing is know why. Why are you doing it in the first place? And it can't be money, because for some people it's money, but for the vast majority of people, it's not money, and it's not a bad thing. If your goal is money, I can guarantee you, if I kept on drilling down and asking you question, it's probably not money. It's something else other than money. So when I went off the money bandwagon, the money train, and I said, listen, it's instead of me trying to make the sale, what is it really that's driving me? For me, it was impact and contribution. I want to build something that had impact on a global scale versus me just doing onesie twosie with people. How can I make it bigger in 10x, 100x, 1000x? So I said, okay, if I build a system that could multiply everything, and that's how I could do it and have grander impact. And yes, I like to make money, but that was a byproduct of that. So understand your why. They say have a why to make you cry, right? So why doing it is going to get you through, right? It's going to get you through this, the inevitable ups and downs. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is understand the difference between your goals and your vision. Okay, what are the difference between goals and vision? A goal is like little steps along the way. I want this goal to accomplish this, and this goal to accomplish this. Your vision is where if you can close your eyes and you can say, okay, I can vision what the house is that I want to buy, the grass that's underneath my feet when I walk, what are the countertops, things like that. How you can your vision is kind of like the verb of your goals. Okay, so it's the action steps of your goals. I love
that concept.
So, yeah, so it's like your GPS, right? Your vision is your inner GPS that's going to keep the goals on track, because the goals are going to go like this. It works. It doesn't. It's like slaloming down a hill. You're going to go like this, but your vision stays solid here, and you're going to keep on going like this with the goals to eventually get you there. So your vision is going to allow you to say yes or no to certain things, because entrepreneurs have the disease that we all know. They never see a bad thing they didn't like. A good thing. Yeah. Everybody loves everything, right? I want to do everything. It's all, So
some of us call it shiny object syndrome.
Right, exactly. So, and I have it too, guys. I've just learned to curtail that by my vision. So if it's not part of my vision, then I know, okay, it might be a great opportunity, it might be a great company, but it's not part of what I want to accomplish, right? So I can't do it. So it'll keep you on the straight and narrow. So this way you're not doing a million things at once and you water down your success, or you water down where your ultimate vision and your ultimate goal happens to be. So vision and goals. And the last thing is to never underestimate the power of consistency, okay? To be consistent every single day. It's the little things that make you a lot of money. It's not winning the lottery. It's not signing up the big hitter. It's the little people. Well, not little people. Singles, double, triples. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So it's not the big hitters that you sign up that you may get every once in a while. It's the people that maybe have no experience, have little experience, and maybe a little more experience that are going to get going. So it's those little steps that you take, the little action steps you take every day that most people don't notice, So and it's the workouts that you go to the gym that most people don't even notice, right?
So the work behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes. So it's the consistency, it's the discipline to do the things that you're supposed to do, that you do, and eventually you do it consistently over time. And in Darren Hardy's book, The Compound Effect, he talks about that, where it's the consistency over time. He said, listen, most people out there are much more talented than me, and this is Darren Hardy talking, but I can outwork them. And because most people do the rabbit thing and they go zoom and then they stop. The consistency is this, right? And you can outwork people and you can out-consistent people, because most people don't have the consistency necessary for long-term success. So if you consistency over time and use that, even John Maxwell said, the leadership expert, and that I learned from him too, he said, if you can boil down over 100 books that are bestsellers on leadership, what would you tell people? He said, never underestimate the power of consistency. Every single day. He said, I wasn't a best-selling author overnight. I just did it for 50 years. right? And
Yeah.
now he's authored over 100 books. He's in leadership. He's considered the world's leader on leadership and the best in the world. So, but he's
Wow.
done it over time. Now, I'm not saying that being successful in your online endeavor is going to take you 50 years, but even if it did, right? So what?
Yeah.
You're going to be 50 years older anyway, right? But if you do things consistently and you have all these other things I talked about, that 50 years is probably going to be a few years. And you're going to be older anyway. And I'll tell you, if you learn the skills of sales, you learn the skills of this wonderful online profession that we have, there's nothing that's going to be able to pay you better than it is here. Nothing.
Wow.
But if you just have lack of focus and you're all over the place and you don't have a good solid vision, you're going to make mediocre money at best or nothing, and you're going to quit and say it's a scam, it doesn't work.
Wow. And then call it a scam, right?
Yeah, all this doesn't work. No, the business wasn't designed to work. It was designed for you to work it.
For you to work it. There you go.
Business isn't designed to work. It's designed for you to work it, because the business doesn't pay you. You pay yourself according to who you are. And the business is just a vehicle.
Absolutely.
The vehicle to pay you. Not you, really. The company doesn't really pay you. You're paid in relation to your skill level and what you bring to the table, and the company just pays you the money based on who you are.
There you go. Right. Wow. And that brings us back to the value point. You know, you want to get paid more to become a person of value in whatever it is that you're trying to get better at. So your why, goals and vision, and consistency, your three major keys. I absolutely love the value that you brought. You brought the thunder tonight. You really, really did, Peter Wolfing. So TC Chambers says, practice in private gets rewarded in public.
Yes, TC.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, yes, yes. And, you know, so where can the MTL viewers find you, Peter Wolfing?
Well, if you go to peterwolfing.com, of course. But I do have a special gift for everybody, if you don't mind me giving everybody.
Absolutely.
It's free. There's no cost to it. I wrote a book called The Warrior Within, and it was detailing what I learned in the Marine Corps in boot camp and the power of perception, the power of overcoming obstacles, the power of what they taught us in the Marines was how do you get yourself to run towards fear and not away from it? So be able to stop fear from debilitating you and use it as ammunition or fuel to get you to do better. So in this book, there's a physical version, but it's also the digital copy, which you can get right away. If you go to domesticatingfear.com, you can download it. Read it tonight. It's about 60 or 70 pages, so it's not going to hurt anybody. Read it. And I think it's very entertaining. I talked to a lot about the things I did in the Marines, what I learned about, gas chamber. You'll see a story about the gas chamber that I learned in there, things like that. But mainly how to apply in your life the concept of fear, what it is, how to overcome it, and how to use it to your benefit, and how to be able to look at things differently and have a different perspective on what is really hard in your life. Because in the book there, I go into some people think things are hard, when if you really look at it, what is hard really? It's just a perception that we have on what's hard. And if you go to people that are in impoverished country that live with almost nothing, that's hard, right?
Yeah.
You really don't have it hard. If you have the right perspective, oh, sales is hard. Really? No, it's not hard. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Compared to what? Right? So unless if you compare things to other things, Ryan Holiday in a great book that he had, The Obstacle is the Way, talks about this, and he goes that if you kind of, I'll kind of paraphrase it with some stuff I learned elsewhere. If I put a box in a room, is it big or small? And the answer is it isn't. It's either, it just is, right? Compared to what?
Yeah.
But if I put a box in a bathroom, is it big or small? Compared to the bathroom, it's probably small or big. Small. It depends, right? So it all depends. So it's your perception in relation to other things. So you can overcome that based on your sales, on your marketing online. So if you have a failure for today, based on what happened today, the failure that I had, can I overcome it, go around it, under it, improvise, adapt, and overcome? And if I can't, can I learn from it to get better next time? So again, it's all perspective, right? It's the obstacle that you just hit becomes the way around it. That's
exactly
what we talked about. And that book is taught in Navy SEALs and everything. The obstacle is the way. How to be able to perceive things in your own reality, to use it to overcome it somehow. And if you can't overcome it, something you just can't. then you use it as a learning thing, so that this way you can get better next time. And so when you do get up to that point, you can go around it before you even hit it, because you've learned from it last time.
Exactly.
So that book will help you. Domesticatingfear.com. It's an easy read, 60, 70 pages. And I think you'll find it really entertaining as well.
Awesome. So guys, make sure the link is here right across the screen. The Warrior Within. Go check it out at www.domesticatingfear.com. Peter Wolfing, I want to thank you so very much for taking the time to interview here with me on Marsie Talks Live. And I'm sure the MTL viewers are absolutely eating this stuff up, because I saw your comment where you said, I'm bringing the thunder tonight. And I said, yes, he is bringing the thunder. So that is it for tonight. And as promised, those of you who have stuck with us till the end, go grab your free Facebook engagement tips PDF now. I will drop the link in the comments. It's just a bit.ly link. You guys can go check that out. But I just, again, want to thank Peter Wolfing. Any last words of wisdom, or just one little additional tip you want to throw up? Because I know you're dying to share some.
Yeah, just listen, guys, just don't stop. You have greatness inside of you. What you have to do is, sometimes we forget the greatness we do have inside of us because of all the things that have happened outside, all the people that said this or said that, and you kind of have hidden it deep inside of you somewhere. You have it in there. You have to unfold it and find it and rediscover it, because you have greatness inside of you and you can accomplish really great things. Do that. Yeah. Search inside of yourself, be able to find that vision, that goal that you always wish you had. Go for it, because you can do some wonderful things.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All the MTL viewers: David Stout, I see you, TC Chambers, Heather Springer, Sharice, Jenna Perez, Christina Delgado was on tonight as well. Peter, so she was loving it. Patrick Peterson. Guys, thanks again for all your love and support. Definitely come and check me out again next week for another Marsie Talks Live interview. We'll have an amazing guest on. I can't share right now, but I will post about it. Peter, thanks again. Guys, have a great night. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye.